Most every vegan I know who is eating a truly whole food, plant-based diet, eating foods as grown, as they grew in the garden or grew in the field, is a lean person. You don't see obese vegans who are eating whole food. Why not? Because whole plant foods, nature in her wisdom, makes them largely out of fiber and water, no matter what.
He's talking about plant foods in nature and how they're largely made out of fiber and water, and he doesn't understand that if you tried to be a vegan in nature, you would literally starve to death. You would literally die on a vegan diet because you don't have a fucking laboratory to make your supplements.
So at this point in Frank's video, he's been on a while doing a live stream, and he's mostly just talking out his, well, he's not really going through all the comments, and there's too many to read. There's like one comment per second coming in. He's mostly watching a video from some old vegan and commenting on how bad he looks. So he can't be reading many comments. And so I had joined in just recently, and he quickly said something that triggered me. He often says things that would trigger a sensible person. And so I started leaving comments. I'd left about 2 or 3.
Quickly talk about why whole food plant-based diet is really good for weight loss, and maybe give some tips for weight loss.
Most every vegan I know who is eating a truly whole food, plant-based diet,
These high water vegetables that he's talking about are worse for the environment than meat is. Zucchini, whatever, lettuce, all those things. And here's a comment in the chat. Vegan CarboRaider said, Frank is a crazy 26-year-old thinking he holds all truth. Okay, Vegan CarboRaider. Do you know the proper dosage of vitamin D3 to fix deficiency for a 4-week, 3-week, or 2-week period? That's a rhetorical question. I know you don't know the answer. My point is that...
So this is surprising. The first comment I hear him choose out of this big lineup is me. And he does know my name a little bit. So he reads this comment. It wasn't my first comment that I made. It was the second one. And looking back, I think it's a good thing that he didn't choose my first comment.
About a man who followed a whole grain diet. He was like a marathon runner. He had a history of heart disease in his family, and despite following a whole grain diet high in vegetables and fruits, he still died of a heart attack. Let me see if I could... Hey, Vegan CarboRaider. I know you don't know the answer. My point is that my knowledge of nutrition expands to overall health. And I'm sure if I had a discussion with Vegan Gains, he wouldn't be able to tell me half the things. You know, you got... And listen, some of you guys think I'm an asshole. Some of you guys think I'm arrogant. Some of you guys think I'm attempting to bat out of my league. But half of you guys were worshipping Sverige 2 weeks ago, and I had him on a live debate on Primal Edge's Health channel. I didn't throw him any curveballs or anything. I put the ball in his court. I said, okay, let's talk about Adonis Vonderplanets. And the first point I brought up about Adonis, he had no goddamn clue. Okay? If you put me in a conversation with someone else, it will become very apparent who is more well-versed in nutritional knowledge and just general health knowledge.
That's it?
It's one thing to listen to one side and then listen to the other side and make your... Let's get back to the video before I bullshit anymore.
What?
Sverige is right about not drinking water? Really? Is that why all the Inuit Eskimos used to drink, like...
Now right now, I'm finding it even more surprising. I'm saying that was it. That was all he had to say to that comment. He does read another one of my comments a couple minutes later or so. So he was right about one thing, that I wouldn't know the answer to that, because what normal person would know that? You know, I've never needed to know that. I've never had a vitamin D deficiency, and I've never had a patient with the vitamin D. I've never had a patient. Does he have patients working full-time at a bar? So what he's saying here is that he knows a lot more than I know. And he also tossed in Vegan Gains in there with me. But, you know, my comment about him being 26, well, Vegan Gains is around 26 too. I'm about twice you guys' age. And he is basically ridiculing me there, saying, again, he is the know-it-all. He is the expert. I'm just a vegan who could not be an expert. Well, let me tell you something, Frank. I studied nutrition long ago. This book came to mind. I was into this. I was really into this. This was one of the first books I read that really got me into using food for health purposes. And you know, I don't like criticizing people for their age. I'm not saying 26 is too young to be smart or knowledgeable. I'm saying it's too young to be ridiculing someone like me and to be on YouTube claiming to be just an expert who knows more than, for instance, these old doctors or any vegan. Frank is just a crazy guy. That's what I'm saying here. But back to his age, I was into this book. This helped get me to go vegan back in the early 90s. Notice how old the book is. It was old when I was reading it, too. So along with this book and some other ones here, Frank, I was reading these books when you were 2 years old. Actually, I went vegan 24 years ago. I was reading these books starting in 91, so that was before you were even born. Matter of fact, 91 was when I started having a certain symptom. There's real bad things going on. That started February 7. That was a Saturday. Then it got better, and then it came back Monday, the 9th. And then it stayed. And so I was just doing this full time. I wasn't working. Reading health books became my biggest interest for years to come. While Frankie was bitching in the crib. Vitamin D, which you like to talk about a lot. Fat soluble, and that's the key for him. I want to get into that in a later video. School him on that. Acquired through sunlight. Or diet. Ultraviolet sun rays act on the cells of the skin to produce the vitamin, which is then absorbed into the body. Right, that's how I get mine. And in the winter I take a supplement, but I make sure that it's not D3, the exact stuff that Frank sells. More on supplements in another video, because Frank has something to say about that. He has debunked all vegans, except he hasn't. He just wants his audience to think he has. When taken orally, vitamin D is absorbed with fats through the intestinal walls. Frank, that's another point you would make. And right now I'm just showing you that I have read all that stuff. Oh, and I've experienced the likes of you for like 11 years now. I have seen young punks like you come and go off YouTube. Matter of fact, I looked up one recently, and I'm going to make a video about him. It's a good turn of events. Subscribe now. RDA is 400 IU, international units. Let's see here. Deficiency disease. I could see I'm not deficient. Rickets. Severe tooth disease. Another book here. Food is your best medicine. It's a fun book, I think I remember. And by food, the book is referring to real food, which is plants, mostly. That's where most of the medicine is. But Frank says you can't get that from plants because we're carnivores. That's what he is saying. And don't be tempted to go to his channel because he's so crazy. I think that's what he wants. Watch all the debunkings on him instead. So he's saying that anybody who would know what he knows would never go vegan. Well, this is where I like to focus on him being 26. And it reminds me of the saying, a little knowledge is dangerous. That seems to be the case here, if he is serious. I actually feel sorry for him that he has gotten this deep into one area. It has blinded him. It has made him so self-assured on something. It's the fact that he has learned so much about nutrition is actually a problem. Focused on one thing, this narrow focus on one thing. He's just learned so much in this area of nutrition that it blocks out the big picture of health. I said recently, nutrients don't make you healthy. And you often see nutritionists who don't really get diet and promote faulty diets. And that's because they're so focused on just the nutrients from food And you end up eating like a crazy person, harvesting organs from animals. I am proof that our natural high fruit diet, when you eat those foods as your main foods, you end up eating enough to get the nutrients you need.
Shitting yourself for like 3 years. It must be annoying to clean it out every day, right?
Oh, here it is. Okay, I have found the other comment that he had for me. I guess you'll like this. It is entertaining. That's one reason I'm bringing it to you, but it's not productive. It shows how crazy these people are.
Coming up largely with fiber and water, and the water gets excreted out in the urine, the fiber passes out in the stool. There's so little calorie density there that nothing really sticks to you. And the glory of whether you go back for a fourth bowl of vegetable.
Vegan CarboRaider said, I've eaten a low-fat diet for 9 years. All is good with me. Frank is so fallacious. How's the colonoscopy bag, man? I mean, you know, shitting yourself for like 3 years. It must be annoying to clean it out every day, right? I mean, I'm glad the health insurance covers it. At least, you know, the one thing is, after the American conventional wisdom, it like brainwashes you that it's good to eat plant foods. After you completely destroy your colon and have to have half of it taken out, completely normal, right? How much medication are you taking with that colonoscopy bag?
That is, like I was saying, yeah, that is pretty entertaining. It gets me to react and laugh even. Is he trying to be funny? That is pretty funny. That's a lot of questions. And I don't think those questions even deserve an answer, but there's so many of them and he seems so serious. That's pretty crazy. So I said I ate a low-fat diet for 9 years, very low-fat diet for 9 years, and so he's thinking I must have a lot of problems. Well, I said very low-fat diet for 9 years, but for the 15 years before that, I also ate what most people would consider a low-fat diet, especially him. He'd consider that. So he thought 9 years was bad enough to ruin my body. But dude, I've been eating low-fat for 24 years, and I'm 50. I'm looking pretty healthy here. No surgery marks. Oh, that reminds me of the time I dropped a watermelon on my abs a few times. I'll put that video in the description below. You can't fake that. That was not good. I may have done some damage with that, but not with my low-fat diet.
If we talked about the anecdotal experiences, there are so many people that go on the failure rate of a vegan diet. That's the only anecdotal experience you need. And people going from vegan to carnivore and improving their health drastically, or people going from vegan to eating 2 eggs a day and curing all their symptoms. Those are all the anecdotes you need.
Smiley face, keep doing what you're doing. You saved my health.
Thanks so much, Madison. Thank you. We're going to continue the video.